At the last classical tournament that he played, he was just playing his course. He didn't care.
Yeah, I love it also when really like Anish and Wesley and others, they just say, yeah, of course, I played this game. I was giving the course. And of course, that's what I played. That's why I gave. It's a good line.
Of course it's in the course. And here we go, it's a handshake, we're off. Firouzja starting with e4, just as we saw in the classical game between these two. And, okay, a repeat. So fast up to this point, the players replicating their classical encounter. Who's going to be the first to flinch? Who's going to be blinking here and deviating? And actually it's Firouzja who plays the move h3. And we saw the hesitation there from Anish. Similar, Judith?
And knight a3. Now the question is, should black take on a3? He says yes. And yes.
So black parts with the bishop for knight. In return, he gets a slightly better Firouzja, quick to lock things down, to close things, because he will later try to strike on the king side.
Interesting decision, I must say, playing c4 and giving away the d4 square. Knight is going now towards to c5 with black. Knight h4, of course, eventually f4 wants to show up.
Yeah, it will land sooner or later. Black needs to be ready for that move. First big question, does he allow the bishop for knight exchange in the center? Does he kind of back up that knight? Does he just guard it simply? Lots of questions and lightning fast from Firouzja up to this point. Asking big questions.
Yeah, c5 is something comes to mind. At the same time, you would be not necessarily happy that the b file is so open and there are new weaknesses coming. But it's on the board.
It is on the board, and it's about when Firouzja can time this f4 break. You don't want to rush too soon because your knight might be vulnerable on the edge of the board to the black queen. So how do you finesse this? It's not so easy. White is stuck for pawn break, stuck for ideas other than pushing this pawn. First he puts his rook on the second rank.
Yeah, I wanted to say this because he wants to go queen e1, so knight c2 is taken away from with the rook. Queen e1 and f4, that can be the idea.
Nice, guarding the knight.
Should Anish take inspiration from this move and also move his rook up to a7? Oh no.
I like that idea, Jovanka.
I wanted
Prove
to
the rook.
Exactly. Queen does a move to e1. He's getting ready to line up f4.
g5. This is what I wanted to see.
Interesting, because the white knight lacks squares, only 2 squares. You cannot jump forward right now. This square on f5 is covered twice. You cannot retreat either, because this knight is simply taken off the board, and at the very end, this black bishop will capture on h3. So he's basically forced white's hand. Either white needs to gamble and sacrifice, or white needs to capture the knight on d4, but that's strategically undesirable.
He has one other move. too long. He still has to make over 11 moves in order to get that 1 second increment. And as we heard, 1 second is hardly enough to even make a move on the board. Okay, he retreats the bishop.
So now the key moment for Anish, does he have to move his queen? If he moves his queen, she's going to get kicked far, far away. Or does he play a bit flashy here and take this white bishop? We think he can get away with it, Judith?
He definitely takes the bishop.
Oh, no, he's reaching for the queen.
No.
Reached for the queen there, Anish. We thought he could take this bishop and
What
trade
about
queens.
rook f6? Isn't he putting himself in danger?
Rook takes f6 now. Yeah, looks tempting. If knight takes the white bishop, we'll give a check to the black king, and that could be deadly, although black can block there, maybe with one of the rooks. Still super complicated, and now it's Firouzja who's down on the clock. 1 minute 20. The black queen is so far away, but maybe it's holding together.
Maybe it's possible, but yeah, what to do with white, right? Rook f6 is an option, but I think bishop f6 is not really, because then black takes and rook g7.
He's taken the knight.
Now, which bishop to capture? Anish is reaching for the dark square bishop. He's going to take on g5. I think.
That must be the move.
It has to be the move, otherwise bishop takes f6 looks like a killer.
He retracted his hand before eventually deciding to go for it. And now the white light squared bishop needs to move, needs to make a decision.
Anish is also under 2 minutes, but Firouzja has only 50 seconds left, so something feels that it went wrong, or he does not see how to create the winning chance.
Black has a big threat of actually taking the pawn on h4.
Yes.
That would win the game.
So many targets on the g-file. Feels like white needs to bring the bishop back to block that line, but still scary for white there.
That's what I believe that he must do, because after that black can go g takes h4, queen h4, but that leads to a perpetual check, it seems. Rook h7, queen f6, rook g7.
A draw will suit
And look
Anish.
at this. 14 seconds for Alireza, and the clock is ticking down.
Increment.
No, and even then, if he manages to make it, it's going to be a 1 second increment. It's not enough.
Rook h7 and game over.
Oh wow, Anish blocks the checks. White can't take the rook is poisoned. There's a pin on the g-file.
Going to lose on time, and oh, he resigns instead. And it is Anish Giri who wins the Armageddon match and nets 1.5 points.
Well done to Anish. He held his nerves in a really difficult position there. He broke the streak of losing 3 Armageddons in a row, and he takes that extra half point. Firouzja came close, but no breakthrough in that attack.
He could recover better from the game.